The mornings are starting to feel familiar now. Not in a bad way either. The kind of familiar where you wake up, walk through the kitchen with a coffee in your hand, glance out across the yard, and realize this is just life now. 2 farms, a worker, hundreds of animals, fields to manage, and another 40,000 pounds disappearing from the account as the yearly Blackthorn estate payment comes out. That one still hurts. I stand there looking at the banking app for a moment before shaking my head. I climb into the Claas and grab the radio. "Morning, Freddy. You're up early."
Someone's got to keep this place running while you're still drinking coffee.
That's a fair point. What are you up to?
Already got the baler on, heading out to the barley fields now. Going to get all the straw baled before the weather changes.
Sounds good. I'll get the mowers on and start knocking down the grass fields.
I'll get the straw done first. Once that's finished, I'll come over and give you a hand with the grass work.
Perfect. See you out there. A few minutes later, I'm unfolding the front and rear mowers in field 98. 10 meters of cutting width stretches out behind me. The first pass drops a huge strip of grass, then another, then another. Before long, the field starts changing color as neat rows of fresh-cut grass appear behind me. As the hours roll on, I find myself thinking about everything that's happened recently. A year ago, I was trying to figure out how to manage one farm. Now I've got Yew Tree Farm producing cattle, milk, and crops, while Woodland Hill keeps the sheep, forestry, and fabric side ticking along. It's a lot, but it's starting to feel manageable. Hey, Rosie.
Thought I'd check if you're still alive. Freddie said you've been hiding inside tractors all week.
That's a slight exaggeration.
Is it though?
All right, maybe not.
How are the cows doing?
Good, actually. The jerseys are settling into milk production nicely, and the calves are looking healthy.
That's what I wanted to hear. I'm planning to come out next week and do a full health check anyway. I want to look at the dairy herd and have another look at the sheep while I'm there.
That'd be great. Everything looks fine from my side, but it's always good having someone who actually knows what they're looking at.
You know a lot more than you give yourself credit for.
Maybe. Still learning every day, though.
That's farming. Nobody ever knows everything.
How's work been?
Busy. Lots of lambing checks around the valley and a few emergency call-outs. Nothing too exciting.
Good. Exciting usually means something's gone wrong.
Exactly. Anyway, I'd better get back to it. See you tonight?
Yeah, me too. See you tonight. One job after another, one field after another. By the end of the month, I'm rowing up the last of Field 3 while Freddie finishes the final bales. The grass season is behind us. The straw's in storage. The animals have feed for months. And as I head back toward the yard with the sunset dropping behind the hills, it feels like we're starting year 7 in a strong position. There's still plenty to do, but for once, we're ahead of schedule. One thing I've learned over the last few years is that a full bale barn is one of the most satisfying sights on a farm. I find myself standing inside the storage shed at the start of the month, just looking around. Stack after stack, row after row, hay, straw, silage. Everything organized and ready to go. The numbers are looking good too. 44 hay bales, 83 straw bales, 27 silage bales currently fermenting. More stored over at Woodland Hill Farm. Enough feed to keep animals happy for a very long time. It's a good feeling. The only problem is, standing around admiring it doesn't get crops planted. This month is all about canola. I've been thinking about it for a while. If we don't get it in the ground now, we miss the planting window. And after looking through the figures, the crop rotation and the opportunities next year, it makes sense.
Morning, boss. First barley field's cultivated and ready whenever you are.
Nice work. I'm loading the seeder now.
What are we planting then?
Canola.
Going fancy on us now?
Thought I'd branch out a bit.
Fair enough. I'll get started on the second field.
Sounds good. I'll meet you over there once this one's done. The first field takes most of the day. Back and forth, up and down. The seeder working steadily behind me. The bright green machine disappears into the distance before turning and coming back again. As I work, my mind drifts toward the year ahead. The dairy herd is finally producing milk. The beef cattle are growing well. The forestry side keeps bringing in steady income. The fabric production is ticking away in the background. I fold up the cedar, move across the road, and start again. More canola. More long days, more hours staring across fields. Eventually, the second field starts filling with neat planted rows too.
Both cattle yards are sorted. Feed's topped up, water's all checked.
Good stuff.
Anything else you need?
Not today. I should finish this field before dark.
Then I'm heading home before you find another job for me.
Smart move.
See you tomorrow.
Job done. The canola is in. Just in time. After parking the machinery away, I decide to take a drive over to Woodland Hill Farm before calling it a day. The sheep are exactly where I'd hoped they'd be. The lambs are healthy. The pasture looks fantastic. The meadow has transformed from a simple grass field into a thriving sheep paddock. Standing at the gate watching them graze, it's hard not to feel proud of how far this place has come. There's still firewood to process, timber to cut, paperwork waiting back at the house, and Freddie will no doubt keep himself busy with that side of the business over the coming weeks. But for now, the important job is finished. The crop is planted, the animals are thriving, and year 7 is moving along nicely as we head towards autumn. The valley feels different this time of year. The mornings are colder, the trees are starting to turn, and for once, I'm not rushing straight out into a field. Instead, I'm driving down the lane in the pickup truck with a coffee sitting in the cup holder. It's been ages since I've actually stopped by. Invoices get paid, money turns up in the account, and life carries on. Efficient, but maybe a little too efficient. I park up and make my way through the market until I spot Diane arranging a display.
Well, look who finally decided to show up in person.
I was beginning to think you'd forgotten what I looked like.
Hardly. I just got used to your delivery driver doing all the work.
That's fair.
How have you been? Last time we really talked was before everything happened with Pete.
Busy mostly. It's been a strange year. Taking over Yew Tree Farm wasn't exactly part of the plan.
I was very sorry to hear about Pete. He was one of the good ones.
Yeah, I still catch myself expecting to see him around the valley sometimes.
He'd be proud of what you've done with the place.
I hope so.
From what I've heard, you've got cattle, sheep, crops, forestry, milk production, and a worker now.
When you list it all out like that, it sounds ridiculous.
That's because it is ridiculous. I will say one thing though. The automated deliveries are brilliant.
Glad they're working.
They are. Although, I do miss seeing you around here.
I know what you mean. Feels like everything got bigger and busier all at once.
That's life. Same thing happened to me years ago.
At least everything's running smoothly.
Exactly. And if you ever start producing anything new, bring it down here first. Fabric, milk products, furniture, whatever it ends up being, I'll happily take a look.
That's good to know. I've got a few ideas floating around.
You always do. Anyway, nice to see you again, Ethan.
Yeah, you too, Diane. See you. After another coffee and a bit more conversation, I say goodbye and head back towards the truck. The visit was nice. A reminder that farming isn't just machinery and spreadsheets, it's people too. From there, I head over to Woodland Hill Farm and hitch up the livestock trailer before making my way back to Yew Tree. Today is cattle sale day. The beef herd has done exactly what we wanted. The calves are healthy, the breeding cycle is progressing nicely, and some of the older cattle are ready to leave. 6 at a time, trip after trip. The first load sells for 17,400 pounds. The second load sells for almost exactly the same. Then another, then another. By the time the final trailer leaves the auction yard, we've sold 28 head of cattle, and the account balance has climbed all the way to 211,000 pounds. Not bad for a day's work. Back at the farm, I stop by the bale barn before heading home. The silage bales are still fermenting away quietly in the corner. It's funny. For years I'd heard people talking about total mixed rations. Now we're finally in a position to make our own. We've got the silage, we've got the hay, we've got the mixer wagon, and before long, we'll be feeding the dairy herd exactly the way we've always wanted. The milk tanks are filling too, nearly 7,000 liters already. Enough that I'm beginning to think seriously about our first major dairy sale. Then there's the wheat. 48,000 liters still sitting in storage from Pete's final harvest. The barley harvest, the future canola crop. Suddenly, we've got products everywhere. Not a bad problem to have. As the evening sun drops behind the cattle paddock, I wander through the dairy barn one last time. Calves are lying down peacefully. The cows are content. The milk is flowing. And for the first time in a long while, it feels like everything is starting to come together. October comes to an end with plenty to think about and even more to look forward to. The mornings are getting colder now. You can feel winter creeping in every time you step outside. The grass isn't growing as quickly anymore, the trees are losing their leaves, and the farm starts shifting into that part of the year where preparation becomes just as important as production.
Morning, boss. Already got the mower on and heading to field 3.
You're keen.
Or you're slow, one of the two.
What's the plan?
I'll get field 3 cut first, then head over to field 98 and get that done as well.
You happy handling all the grass work this time around?
Of course I am.
Good, because I've got another job.
What's that then?
We're finally making total mixed rations.
About time. Those cows have been waiting long enough.
Exactly.
Leave the mowing, rowing, and baling to me. I'll get everything sorted.
Perfect. Give me a shout if you need anything. The radio clicks off and I make my way down to the bale barn. This has been a long time coming. For years I've heard farmers talking about total mixed rations. Silage, hay, mineral feed. Everything blended together into one balanced feed source. Now we've finally got everything we need. The silage has finished fermenting. The hay barn is full. The mixer wagon is ready. The only problem is loading the bales. That means using the JCB. I stare at it for a few seconds. It's a great machine, nothing wrong with it. But then again, it isn't green. 10 minutes later, I'm driving down to Peacock and Bennington's. The JCB parked behind me, the spikes removed, and a very predictable idea forming in my head. Oxy is already smiling when I walk through the door.
Let me guess, JCB isn't quite your color?
Correct. I'm hoping you have something slightly more my style and color scheme?
Of course I do. Well, you're in luck. We've got a Claas Scorpion 1033 available.
How much?
135,000.
And the JCB?
I'll give you 82,000 for it.
Sounds good, thanks Oxy. Paperwork is signed, money changes hands, and before long I'm driving back to Yew Tree Farm in a Claas Scorpion. I have to admit, it looks fantastic. The same colors as the tractors, the same branding, everything matching. It's completely unnecessary, but I love it. Back at the farm, Freddie's already finished mowing field 98 and is working through the baling. Meanwhile, I get to work with the mixer wagon. The new telehandler makes life easy. 2 silage bales, 2 hay bales, everything loaded into the mixer. The machine starts churning away. A few minutes later, we've got almost 12,000 liters of total mixed rations ready to go. The first load goes to the younger beef cattle. The second goes to the dairy herd. Then another load, and another. By lunchtime, the cows are tucked into their new feed like they've been waiting years for it. Maybe they have.
Baling's finished.
How many did we get?
Enough to keep me busy for the rest of the day.
Sounds about right.
These new silage fields worked out well.
They did. How's the pickup going?
Almost done with field 3. I'll have everything stacked in the barn before dark.
Perfect. Thanks, Freddie. The rest of the afternoon passes quietly. I keep mixing feed. Freddie keeps collecting bales. The farm settles into a rhythm. The sort of rhythm we've been trying to build for years. Efficient, simple, sustainable. As the sun begins to disappear behind the hills, the hard work of the year is behind us. And with grain, milk, and cattle all waiting to be sold over the coming months, there's plenty to look forward to as we head into December. The valley feels completely different now. The fields are quiet, the trees are bare. Most mornings there's a layer of frost sitting across the grass and the roofs of the sheds, and today is no different. I'm sitting inside with the fire going, finishing off some paperwork before heading outside. The government schemes are all sorted for another year. We've signed up for the no mowing during spring scheme again, the natural grazing scheme is continuing, and we've also got the natural fertilizer scheme running, which should work nicely with all the manure and slurry we're producing now. For once, the paperwork is actually ahead of schedule. That's a rare event. With that out of the way, I pull my coat on and head outside. The tractor fires into life, and before long, I've got the slurry tanker attached and backed up against the slurry pit. The dairy cows have been producing plenty of it. Might as well put it to good use. The tanker fills up quickly, and I grab the radio. "Morning, Freddy. What are you up to?"
Just getting the feed sorted for the cows. Going through the total mix rations now.
Perfect. I'm heading out to the canola fields with the slurry tanker. Going to get some nutrients into them before winter really settles in.
Sounds good. The cows absolutely love that feed, by the way. Every time I put it out, they charge over like it's Christmas dinner.
That's a good sign. Hopefully it'll help the milk production too.
Everything's looking healthy from my end. I'll keep working through the feeding.
Nice one. Catch you later. One thing I really enjoy about organic farming is moments like this. Everything we're putting back into the ground comes directly from the farm. The cows produce the slurry feeds the crops feed the animals. Nothing wasted. No synthetic fertilizers, no artificial shortcuts. Just a cycle that keeps repeating itself year after year. By the time the first field is finished, I head back to refill and move on to the second. The canola is still tiny at this stage, but getting nutrients into the soil now will pay off later. Hey Oliver, how's things?
To be honest, not great.
Everything all right?
That's actually why I'm calling. I wanted to ask what happened with the hay deliveries.
The hay deliveries?
Yeah, ever since Pete passed away, they just stopped. At first, I figured you were busy. Then a few months passed. Then more months passed. I never heard anything. I had horses that still needed feeding.
Ah, Oliver, I'm really sorry. That's completely on me. Everything got so busy with Yew Tree Farm that it slipped through the cracks.
I figured as much, but a quick phone call would have been nice.
You're right, it would have. I've got plenty of hay available if you still need it. I can sort something out.
No, I've already made arrangements elsewhere.
Fair enough. Who'd you go with?
Callum, he's been supplying the hay. And while we're being honest, he's been supplying the wood chips too.
Right, I understand.
Nothing personal, Ethan. I just need reliability. If I order something, I need to know it's turning up.
That's completely fair. Sorry I let you down.
It is what it is. Anyway, I thought you should know. Take care of yourself.
I sit there for a moment in silence, the slurry tanker idling beside me. He's right. I dropped the ball. Not because I didn't care, just because I got distracted trying to manage two farms. Still, Callum now has one of my old customers. That's frustrating. And despite the call with Oliver, there's something else to look forward to. Christmas. For the first time in ages, Mum and Dad are flying over to spend it with us. They're finally going to see both farms. They're finally going to meet Rosie. And after the year we've had, that'll be nice. With that thought in mind, I head inside and leave December behind. The Christmas decorations are still up around the house. Freddy's been keeping the farms ticking over while we've all had a bit of downtime. This afternoon, we're all sat around the dining table after lunch while rain rattles against the windows outside.
I still can't get over how much has changed since we got here. We spent years hearing about this farm, and now you've somehow ended up with 2 of them. Every time we drove somewhere this week, there was another field or another building that apparently belongs to you.
Trust me, it feels just as strange for me sometimes. There are still mornings where I wake up and forget that Yew Tree Farm is mine now. Then I remember I've got 2 sets of animals to feed and 2 sets of problems to deal with.
I think what surprised me most was the size of the cattle operation. You always talked about getting into cows one day, but I wasn't expecting to arrive and find dairy cows, beef cattle, calves, and a milk tank all waiting for me.
Neither was I a year ago.
To be fair, he's done a really good job with them. When I first started coming out here, everything was still being figured out. Now the routines are in place, the feeding's sorted, and the animals are doing really well.
I noticed that when we walked through the dairy barn. Everything looked calm. You can usually tell when animals aren't being looked after, and these all seemed really settled.
That's usually a good sign. Happy animals make life a lot easier.
The milk side interests me. How much are you actually producing now?
More every month. It's still early days because the dairy herd only started producing recently, but it's growing steadily. The total mixed rations seem to be helping too.
I was impressed with that setup. You've come a long way from feeding sheep with a couple of grass bales and hoping for the best.
Let's not bring those days up.
I remember those days. You used to ring us asking whether a machine was supposed to make a certain noise, and neither of us had any idea.
He still does that.
I do not.
You absolutely do. Last month you called me because you thought one of the cows looked at you funny.
That is not what happened.
That sounds exactly like what happened.
Rosie, what made you decide to become a vet in the first place?
I've always loved animals. Growing up, every stray cat in the neighborhood somehow ended up in our house. It felt like the obvious career choice eventually.
Well, we're very glad you picked it. You've been incredibly patient with him.
Someone has to be.
Cheers.
I knew there was a reason I liked her.
I'm really glad we came. Photos and phone calls just don't do any of this justice.
Agreed. You've built something special here. Both farms, everything. And Pete would have been proud of what you've done with Yew Tree Farm.
Thanks, Dad. That means a lot.
You should be proud of yourself too. Most people would have been overwhelmed trying to manage all this.
Maybe. I still feel like I'm making it up as I go half the time.
That's farming. Nobody really knows what they're doing. Some are just better at pretending.
A few days later, I'm driving Mum and Dad back to the airport. It's been a fantastic visit. The first one they've ever made, and hopefully not the last. Back at the farms, Freddie's kept everything running smoothly while we've been enjoying ourselves. The cattle are fed, the milk is flowing, the sheep are happy. And now it's time to get back into the swing of things. Because before long, winter will be behind us, and another busy season will be waiting as we head into February. Winter is still hanging around, but you can feel it starting to lose its grip. The mornings are cold, the fields are wet, and there's still a bite in the air when I step outside. The crop is looking fantastic. Still a long way from harvest, but healthy, green, and growing exactly as I'd hoped. The pH levels are right where they need to be. The only thing that's slightly lacking is nitrogen. Not terrible, just not quite where I'd like it. We already put slurry on these fields a few months ago, but I think another application of manure will help give them a boost before spring arrives. Freddie is busy with the cattle this month, keeping the total mixed rations production running and making sure everything stays fed and watered. So this job falls to me. I climb back into the tractor, hitch up the manure spreader, and head over to the manure heap. A few minutes later, the spreader is loaded with 16,500 liters, and we're ready to go. Out in the field, I lower the spreader and get to work. The GPS monitor lights up in front of me as I make each pass. The nitrogen values slowly climbing, yellow patches becoming greener. Not perfect, but noticeably better. That's one thing organic farming teaches you very quickly. You're rarely chasing perfection, you're chasing improvement. A synthetic fertilizer might push those numbers higher, but that's not why we're here. We're trying to build healthy soil and healthy crops that can sustain themselves year after year. By the time the first field is finished, the improvement is obvious. The nitrogen still isn't maxed out, but it's comfortably within a good range. Exactly what I was hoping for. I head back to refill the spreader and then move on to the second field. On the way through the yard, I pass Freddy feeding the beef cattle. He's busy unloading another batch of total mixed rations and gives me a quick wave as I drive past. A couple of hours later, the second field is finished too. The nitrogen has improved. The crop looks great. And that's another job ticked off the list. With the manure spreader parked away, I decide to check on the animals. The dairy barn is first. 40 cows, 40 calves. Everyone healthy, everyone happy. The total mixed rations have made a huge difference, and the milk tank is steadily filling. We've now got around 20,000 liters stored up and waiting to be sold. The manure heaps are filling nicely. The slurry pit is producing everything we need for the fields. It's a nice system. The cows produce the fertilizer feeds the crops feed the cows. Round and round it goes. After that, I make a decision that's been waiting for months. It's finally time to sell the grain. The Claas carrot trailer gets hitched up and I head over to the grain silo. First up is Pete's wheat. 48,000 liters that have been sitting there since before I inherited the farm. The prices are finally where I want them. I check the market app on my phone and Oakbridge Mill is offering the best price. Perfect. The first trailer load heads down there straight away. I pull onto the weighbridge, unload the grain, and collect 11,800 pounds. Not bad. Then I do it again, and again, and again. By the time the final load of wheat leaves the farm, the bank account has climbed all the way to 260,000 pounds. A great result. Then comes the big one, the barley harvest. 154,000 liters. Trailer after trailer heads down to Oakbridge Mill, each run bringing in roughly 12,000 pounds. It's repetitive work. Load, drive, unload, repeat. Eventually, I return from the final run, the trailer empty, the grain silo empty, and the account balance sitting at an incredible 347,000 pounds. I stand there for a moment, just looking at the empty silo. Months of work finally turned into money. Not a bad feeling. The trailer gets parked away. The tractor goes back into the workshop, and with the sun beginning to disappear behind the hills, I head inside. A productive month. The crops are thriving, the animals are thriving, and the bank account is looking healthier than ever as we leave February behind and move into March. The first signs of spring are finally appearing across the valley. The days are getting longer, the temperatures are climbing, and everywhere I look, things are starting to wake up again after winter. Woodland Hill Farm is ticking along nicely these days. The sheep are doing brilliantly. Rosie continues checking in on them whenever needed, and Freddie has pretty much become the unofficial manager of the place while living over there. The forestry operation is running smoothly. The allotment deliveries are still heading down to Diane every week. The sawmill is producing planks. The firewood business keeps generating steady income. For the first time in years, that farm almost runs itself. Meanwhile, I'm over at Yew Tree Farm getting started on the day's jobs. Freddie has already radioed through saying he's busy over at Woodland Hill, so today, I'm handling the cattle feeding. I hitch up the mixer wagon and grab the radio. Morning, Freddie. How's things over there?
Busy as ever. Sheep are all good. I've got some trees down from yesterday to process, a stack of planks waiting to go out, and the delivery driver is coming later for the allotment produce.
Sounds like you've got enough to keep you occupied.
Trust me, I do. What about you?
I'm making total mixed rations all day.
Living the dream then?
Something like that. Actually been thinking about upgrading the mixer wagon.
That old thing finally getting too small?
We've reached the point where I'm doing multiple loads every time. A bigger wagon would save a lot of time.
Makes sense. Though knowing you, you're already looking at spending money elsewhere too.
Maybe. I've also been looking at combines.
Here we go.
The Fendt has been great, but Claas have been talking to us about a deal.
Of course they have.
There's a Lexion 6900 for around 400,000 pounds.
Only 400,000? Bargain.
They'd throw in the header for free.
Now that's actually a decent deal.
Exactly what I thought.
Well, don't spend all the money before harvest.
No promises.
I knew that was coming.
I spend the next few hours mixing feed and delivering total mixed rations around the farm. The cattle absolutely love the stuff. every load disappears almost immediately. By lunchtime, I decide to walk through the barns and check how everyone's doing. The beef herd looks fantastic. The younger animals are growing well, and the older breeding cows are progressing through reproduction exactly as planned. Once the next round of calves arrives, another group will be ready for sale. That'll bring in a healthy amount of money. The dairy herd is next. 40 calves, 40 mature cows, and milk production continues climbing every single month. 23,000 liters are sitting in storage now, enough that I've finally organized our first major collection. As if on cue, a tanker arrives at the farm entrance. The driver climbs out, checks a few details with me, and before long, the milk is being pumped into the tanker. I stand there watching. It's a strange moment. For years I've talked about getting into dairy farming. Now it's actually happening. The tanker eventually pulls away and heads down the road towards the dairy. A couple of hours later, I check the bank account. Before the collection, we had roughly 366,000 pounds. Now we're sitting just over 381,000 pounds. 15,000 pounds from one milk collection. Not bad at all. As the day comes to an end, I take one last walk around the farm. The cattle are fed, the crops are growing, the milk is selling, and plans for bigger machinery are already starting to form in my head. Spring has arrived. Things are moving in the right direction, and if the rest of the year goes as well as these last few months, year 7 could end up being one of our best yet as we head into April. The valley is finally starting to wake up properly after winter. The mornings are brighter, the temperatures are climbing. This month starts with one of my favorite jobs. Not because it's particularly exciting, quite the opposite actually. It's one of those jobs that quietly earns money in the background without much effort. Wool and fabric selling season. I climb into the tractor and hook up the flatbed trailer. Freddie is already out feeding cattle and checking water troughs, keeping everything ticking over like he always does. So I leave him to it and head off towards Woodland Hill Farm. Pulling into the yard, I start with the spinnery. The fabric pallet is sitting outside waiting for collection. That gets loaded onto the trailer first. From there, I head around towards the sheep pasture. The gate swings open and I drive into the field. The sheep barely pay any attention to me now. They're too busy grazing. The first wool collection area contains 4 pallets ready to go. The second collection point has another 7. One by one, I load everything onto the trailer until it's stacked full. Once everything is strapped down, I close the gate and head towards town. The farmer's market is busy when I arrive. I check the prices before unloading. Wool is selling for around 1,200 pounds a pallet. Fabric is having an excellent month too, sitting around 6,000 pounds. That's enough to put a smile on my face. A little while later, the trailer is empty and the money is in the account. Just over 33,000 pounds from one trip. Our balance jumps from 391,000 pounds to 424,000 pounds. That's a fantastic return from something we were originally doing as a side project. Driving back through the valley with an empty trailer feels a lot lighter than driving down with a full one. Back at Yew Tree Farm, Freddie is still working through the cattle feeding. The dairy herd has become surprisingly demanding since switching over to total mixed rations. They absolutely love the stuff. I drop the trailer off and decide to spend the rest of the afternoon checking on things around the farm. The younger beef cattle are looking fantastic. They're putting on weight steadily and seem healthier than ever. Plenty of feed, plenty of bedding, plenty of space. Exactly what we want. From there, I head out towards the canola fields. The crop is progressing nicely. The nitrogen levels are still holding up from the manure and slurry applications. The pH levels are stable. Nothing really needs doing right now except waiting, which is sometimes the hardest part of farming. The temptation is always there to do something. With the tractor parked away and the animals sorted, I head inside and leave April behind as we move into May. This month begins with Freddie doing exactly what Freddie does best, keeping both farms running. The sheep are fed, the cattle are fed, and somehow he manages to keep on top of all of it. Meanwhile, I've got a much more exciting job planned. Today is Combine Day. I've been waiting for this moment for months. The old Fendt combine has served us well. It's harvested crops, made us money, helped us grow. But now it's time for an upgrade. A very big upgrade. The header gets loaded onto its trailer, the combine fires into life, and before long, I'm crawling my way down the road towards Peacock and Binnington's. People definitely notice when a combine drives through town, especially one this size. Eventually, I arrive and pull into the yard around the back. The Fendt is parked in the maintenance area, and I make my way inside to find Oxy.
Let me guess, you've come to spend money.
Technically, I'm here to make money first.
That sounds dangerous. What are we selling?
The Fendt combine, the header, the trailer, the whole lot.
Big day then. Let's have a look. 15,000 for the header, 38,000 for the combine, 5,000 for the trailer.
Not bad.
It's here. Arrived last weekend, straight from Claas. Been sitting outside making me jealous ever since.
Wow, it's somehow even bigger than I imagined. Claas agreed to provide the header as part of the deal. A header worth 136,000 pounds, completely included.
You've done all right there. Most farmers would kill for a deal like that.
I'm still struggling to believe it.
Sticking with one brand seems to have paid off.
Apparently so. A few signatures later, the combine is officially ours. The bank account drops to around 104,000 pounds. A lot of money. But for a machine like this, it's worth it. I climb into the cab and start it up. The engine roars into life, the screens light up, and suddenly I'm sitting in the biggest machine I've ever owned. The drive home feels surreal. Every passing mile makes me grin more. By the time I arrive back at Yew Tree Farm, Freddie is standing outside waiting. Even from a distance, I can see him shaking his head. Later that evening, I'm back inside the house when Rosie arrives. She spots the combine almost immediately through the kitchen window. Did you see it?
I did. Congratulations. That's not a combine. That's a spaceship.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Please tell me you didn't spend all your money again.
Technically, most of it.
Ethan,
In my defense, the header was free.
you sound far too proud of that.
I am proud of that.
You know most people get excited about holidays. You get excited about harvesting equipment.
You've met me. You know exactly what you're signing up for. And as the evening comes to an end, I take one final look out the window. The new Claas combine sitting proudly in the yard, ready for harvest, ready for year 8, and ready for whatever comes next as we head into June. The fields are glowing yellow now. Everywhere I look, there's canola flowers stretching across the landscape, bright enough to spot from halfway across the valley. It's one of those crops that tells you exactly how close harvest season is getting. The combine is ready, the trailers are ready, the storage is ready. Now all we need is time. I head outside early and make my way towards the dairy barn first. The cows are becoming a bigger part of the business every month, and I still find myself checking on them before anything else. Inside the dairy shed, everything looks exactly how I'd hoped. The younger jerseys are now 14 months old and growing nicely. The older cows are 26 months old and moving steadily through reproduction again. From there, I head around to the beef paddock. This is where today's real job begins. The herd has exploded in size. There's cattle everywhere. The latest calves are looking fantastic and running around the paddock without a care in the world. The older Herefords have done exactly what we wanted them to do. They've produced calves, they've generated income, and now it's time for them to move on. The trailer gets hitched up and backed carefully against the loading area. 6 cows at a time, that's the limit. The first group loads without too much trouble. A short drive later, and we're rolling into the livestock market. The first load sells for just over 14,000 pounds. Not bad at all. I head back and do it again, and again, and again. Before long, the routine takes over. Load, drive, sell, repeat. Hours pass. Eventually, unloading the final trailer. The bank account has climbed steadily throughout the day. By the time the last cattle are unloaded at the market, we're sitting around 186,000 pounds. Not life-changing money, but a very healthy return from cattle that have already given us calves and done their job. That's how I like farming, getting value from every stage of the process, rather than chasing quick profits. The drive back home is quiet. The trailer rattles along behind me empty for the final time. Back at Yew Tree Farm, I unhook it and leave it parked near the yard. The herd is still strong. We've reduced numbers slightly, but we've also got a whole generation coming through behind them. Future income is already walking around that field. The dairy cows are happy. The calves are healthy. The beef cattle are grazing away peacefully. Everything feels balanced. For the first time in quite a while, there isn't a major machine purchase hanging over my head. No big field projects. No huge expansion plans. Just steady farming. And after everything that's happened over the last few years, that's actually quite nice. The canola fields glow gold in the distance. Harvest is nearly here. The new combine is waiting. And next month, we'll finally get to see what this crop can do. With that thought in mind, I head inside and call it a day as June comes to an end. The smell of freshly cut grass has returned to the valley. That's always a sign that summer is moving along quickly and another season is nearly behind us. I start the morning inside the bale barn, checking stock levels. After last year's work, we're sitting on a healthy reserve. 39 straw bales, 34 silage bales, 20 hay bales. Looking at those numbers, the decision is pretty straightforward. This cut is going to become silage. We'll top up our stocks now and focus on hay later in the year. The mowers are already attached when I climb into the tractor.
Morning, boss. I've got the windrow hooked up already. Just give me a bit of space and I'll follow behind you.
Perfect. I'll get the grass down first, and then once we're finished mowing, I'll swap over to the baler. If you can row everything up and then collect the bales afterwards, we should get through both fields without too much trouble.
Sounds good to me. Nice to be back doing something other than feeding cows.
Trust me, the cows missed you.
The cows can survive without me. You can't.
A few minutes later, the mower drops into field 98 and the first passes begin. Grass falls neatly behind the machine. Another season, another cut, another reminder of how much this place has changed. While working through the field, I find myself thinking about everything we've built. 2 farms, a growing cattle operation, the sheep enterprise, forestry, milk production, a full-time employee, a Claas partnership. None of it existed when this journey started. By the time Field 98 is finished, Freddie is already behind me, laying down perfect rows. I head straight over to Field 3 and start again. The second field takes most of the afternoon. Freddie eventually catches up and begins working through the fresh grass while I finish the final passes. Once the mowing is complete, I head back to the farm, park the mower away, and swap over to the baler. The rest of the month becomes a rhythm. Baling, transporting, collecting, stacking. Everywhere I look, there are silage bales appearing. While I'm working through Field 98, my phone suddenly rings.
Good afternoon, Ethan. Have you got a few minutes?
Of course. Is everything all right?
Nothing urgent, although there is something I'd like to discuss with you in person.
That sounds concerning.
I wouldn't describe it as concerning, more administrative. We've received a complaint regarding activities at Woodland Hill Farm. As estate managers, we're required to investigate any formal concerns that are submitted.
A complaint? About what exactly?
I'd rather discuss the details on site once I've reviewed everything myself.
Does this have anything to do with Callum Draper?
As I said, I'd rather discuss specifics in person. However, Mr. Draper is the individual who submitted the complaint, yes.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm not making any accusations, Ethan. This is simply a compliance inspection. You've always been cooperative with the estate, and I'd like to keep it that way.
You've got nothing to worry about from me. Come and have a look around whenever you like.
Good. I'll be there in a few days. There'll be another representative attending with me as well. We'll see you then.
Okay, thanks. See you then. For a few moments, I just sit there staring at the phone. Callum again. Every time things seem to settle down, he somehow finds a way back into the story. I spend the next hour replaying the conversation in my head while baling continues around me. Eventually, the work wins my attention back. The fields are finished, the bales are collected, the silage is stacked away safely. Just as we're wrapping up, another call comes through. This time, it's Oxy.
Ethan, I've got something sitting in the yard that I think you'll want to see.
That usually costs me money.
This time it might save you money. Local farmer traded in a Claas liner 4900. 59% off, 40 grand. I thought I'd ring you before someone else bought it.
You're joking.
Wish I was. Get down here quickly.
Okay, thanks, Oxy. On my way. Within the hour, I've traded in the old windrower, collected the new Claas machine, and headed home again. The timing couldn't have been better. We'd literally finished using the old one days earlier. As evening arrives, I leave the new windrower in the yard and jump into the pickup. It's time to meet Eleanor. Woodland Hill Farm appears over the hill ahead. As I pull into the yard, something immediately feels wrong. There's a red pickup parked beside the barn. Callum's pickup. Then I spot two more vehicles. A black SUV, a black estate car. Estate vehicles. I shut the engine off. The yard suddenly feels very quiet. Whatever this meeting is about, it's clearly bigger than I thought.
Ethan, thank you for coming over. I know this was short notice. I'll get straight to the point. We've received a formal complaint regarding the use of Woodland Hill Farm and several estate-managed assets connected to the tenancy agreement.
Right. That's a bit of a surprise. What's the complaint?
The complaint is that you're running commercial operations all over the place that weren't part of the original agreement. Firewood sales, timber processing, fabric production, deliveries. Half the valley thinks you've turned the place into an industrial estate.
Half the valley, or just you?
I'm not the one renting an estate farm and using it for things it wasn't intended for.
Callum?
I'm just saying what everyone else is thinking.
No, you're saying what you're thinking. The sheep are still here, the land's maintained, the buildings are maintained, the woodland is managed. Nothing has been neglected.
That doesn't mean you're following the agreement.
Which is exactly why we're here today. We investigated the complaint, we've reviewed the tenancy, the estate records, financial reports that you've provided over the years, and we've completed a site inspection.
And?
And we've found no breach of the agreement.
What?
The woodland management falls within the permitted use of the holding. The sheep operation remains active. The fabric production originates from wool produced on the holding itself. The firewood operation uses timber harvested under the estate's approved woodland management plan.
That's ridiculous.
It's compliant.
He's making money hand over fist from this place.
Success is not a breach of contract.
That's a good line. I might frame that one.
This isn't over.
Actually, as far as the complaint is concerned, it is.
So that's it then? Nothing happens?
Correct.
Unbelievable.
You could always spend more time working your own farm and less time worrying about mine.
Careful, Ethan.
Why? Everything I've built here has been done by the book.
We'll see how long that lasts.
I think we're finished here.
Fine. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Sorry about that. I had hoped the meeting would be a little more professional.
To be fair, that's about as professional as Callum gets.
You've certainly made an impression on the valley.
I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
From the estate's perspective, it's a very good thing.
How so?
The sheep enterprise is thriving. The woodland is productive, the buildings are maintained, the tenancy payments arrive on time every year.
That £40,000 payment still hurts every August.
I imagine it does.
But it's worth it.
That's good to hear, because that's actually why I wanted to speak to you privately.
Go on.
The estate board recently reviewed several of its tenancy agreements. Woodland Hill was one of them.
And?
We'd like to offer you an extension.
Really?
3 years.
3?
3 years. Same terms, same annual payment. Woodland Hill Farm, the woodland blocks, the associated grazing rights, and Field 3 remain included exactly as they are today.
That's more than fair.
We believe stability benefits both parties. You've invested a great deal into the holding, and we'd rather see that continue than start over with someone new.
That takes a huge weight off my shoulders.
I thought it might.
So we're locked in for another 3 years.
Correct.
Well, that's the easiest business decision I've made all year.
Then I'll have the paperwork sent over next week.
Thank you, Eleanor. Really.
You're welcome. Keep doing what you're doing. The estate is very happy with the way you've managed Woodland Hill.
I will.
And Ethan,
Yeah?
try not to let Callum distract you.
I've got 2 farms, 100 jobs, and a mountain of machinery. Trust me, I don't have time to worry about Callum.
Well then, 3 more years. Let's get back to work.
Another year begins. It still feels strange saying that. 7 years ago, I was sleeping in a caravan, wondering how I was going to pay for fuel. Now I'm standing in a farmyard looking at 2 farms, a full team of livestock, more machinery than I ever thought I'd own, and somehow still finding new things to worry about. The biggest one right now is sitting directly in front of me, the canola. After nearly a year growing in these fields, it's finally ready. The bright yellow flowers disappeared weeks ago, and now both fields have turned into that familiar golden brown color that means harvest time has arrived. And for the first time with this crop, we've got the right machine for the job.
Morning, boss. Already got the carrot trailer hooked up. I'll head straight over to the first field and wait for you there.
Morning, Freddy. Sounds good. Hopefully this stuff yields half as well as everyone keeps telling me it should.
If it doesn't, we'll just blame the weather.
That's usually what farmers do.
Exactly. Can't go breaking tradition now.
I'll see you over there. The first rows disappear beneath the machine. Canola starts pouring into the tank almost immediately. And just like that, we're underway. For the next few hours, the 2 of us settle into a rhythm. Freddy appears alongside the combine whenever the grain tank starts getting full. I unload into the trailer, he heads back to the farm, returns, then does it all again. Meanwhile, I just keep cutting, pass after pass, lap after lap, watching nearly a year's worth of work disappear beneath the header. It's funny, really. When you're planting something, it feels like harvest is forever away. Then one day you're sitting in a combine wondering where the year went. The first field eventually disappears behind us, then the second. The new Claas absolutely flies through it. By late afternoon, we're making the final passes. The tank fills one last time. Freddy pulls alongside. I unload the last of the crop into the trailer, then lift the header clear of the ground. Done. The canola harvest is officially finished.
That combine makes the old Fent look like a garden toy.
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Worth every penny.
Don't remind me how many pennies it cost.
Fair point.
The combine gets washed. The header comes off. Everything gets parked away properly. Before heading inside, I wander over to the grain silo to see how we actually did. The display flashes up the final figure. 89,000 liters, almost 90,000 liters. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. That'll sit nicely until winter. No point rushing to sell it. The prices will only get better. A used machinery listing. Normally I'd ignore it, but this one immediately grabs my attention. A Claas Zerion saddle tank slurry system. 72% off. 40,000 pounds. I stare at the screen for a few seconds, then laugh. Because of course it's Claas. Every time I think I've finished buying machinery, another green machine appears out of nowhere. A little while later, I'm standing at Peacock and Bennington's looking at the tanker in person. It's enormous. Far bigger than anything we currently own. Parked beside it is a brochure showing the machine it was designed for. The Claas Zerion 4200 saddle track. The absolute monster of the Claas range. The sort of machine you buy when you've completely lost control of your spending habits. I probably shouldn't even be looking at it. Yet here I am. The tanker gets purchased before I can talk myself out of it. For now, it'll stay parked at the dealership, waiting. And as I stand there looking at it, I can't help thinking the same thing. One day, that machine is coming home. But not today. Today, we've got a successful harvest behind us. 90,000 liters of canola in storage. One more year underway, and plenty still to do. The combine is parked away. The canola is in storage. And now, it's time to start thinking about next year's harvest. This farm never really stops. One job finishes, and another one immediately takes its place. I step outside with a coffee in hand and spot Freddy already halfway across the first field. The cultivator is in the ground, and dust is already rolling up behind him. No messing around. He's clearly been busy before I've even got out of bed.
Morning. First field's nearly done already. Ground's working up nicely. I'll head straight over to the second one once I've finished here.
You're making me look lazy.
Someone's got to.
Keep that up, and you'll be back cleaning sheep pens.
Worth the risk.
I leave Freddy to it and head back across the yard. Before we get planting underway, I want to check on the livestock. The beef cattle are first. The main pasture is looking fantastic. The grass is still holding up well, and the herd has grown again. The 3-month-old calves are running around without a care in the world. The 14-month-olds are filling out nicely, and the older cows are getting very close now. 43 months old, heavy in calf, looking like they'll start dropping calves at any moment, which is exactly what we want. The numbers are growing, the herd is growing, and most importantly, the farm account is growing with it. I lean on the fence for a minute watching them before heading through to the dairy barn. The Jerseys are doing exactly what Jerseys do best: eating, producing milk, making more calves. The younger animals are looking healthy, the older cows are producing well. The whole system is finally starting to feel established. A couple of years ago, I was wondering whether cattle farming was even the right decision. Now, I couldn't imagine this farm without them. With the checks finished and hitch up the livestock trailer, we've got a small job to do before the planting starts. The youngest calves need moving. The indoor barn still has plenty of spare capacity, and I'd rather free up some room before all the new calves arrive. A little while later, the 21 calves are settled into their new pen. More space for them, more space for the mothers. Everyone wins.
First field's done. Looks good. I'll start the second one now.
Perfect. I'll get the seeder loaded and get started.
Barley again?
Barley again. It worked last time.
Fair enough. Hard to argue with that.
I head back across the yard and load the seeder with barley seed. 4,000 liters, ready to go. The first cultivated field stretches out ahead of me as I lower the drill into the soil and start planting. There's something satisfying about seeding. Harvest feels exciting because that's when the money arrives. But seeding feels important. This is the point where the next year actually begins. Everything that happens from now on depends on getting these crops established properly. Pass after pass, the field slowly disappears behind me, fresh rows of barley stretching across the landscape. Eventually, the final run is finished. The drill folds up, and by now, Freddy has completed the second field. So we swap over. He heads off to wash machinery and check on things around Woodland Hill Farm. I move across to the second field and start all over again. The afternoon drifts by. Barley seed disappears. The field fills up, and before long, the final pass is complete. I stop the tractor and climb down for a better look. Freshly planted barley, ready for another year. The pH values aren't fantastic. The nitrogen levels aren't much better. We're definitely going to have some work to do over the coming months. A bit of slurry, a bit of manure, possibly some lime. Nothing unusual, just part of the process. I fold the drill up and head back to the yard. The seeder gets parked away, the tractor gets cleaned down, and with the light starting to fade, I finally call it a day. Standing beside the field for a moment, I look back across the rows we've planted today. The canola harvest is behind us, the barley is in the ground, and another cycle begins all over again, exactly how I like it. One of the biggest advantages of running cattle is that eventually they start paying you back. For the last few years, we've been feeding them, bedding them, looking after them, and waiting. Now it's finally time for a few of them to earn their keep. The older Hereford cows have done exactly what we wanted them to do. They've produced healthy calves. They've helped grow the herd, and now they're ready to move on. I pull the pickup alongside the livestock trailer and hitch it up. The sky is gray overhead. The mornings are definitely getting colder now. Winter isn't far away. A few minutes later, I'm backing up to the pasture gate. The first 6 cows walk into the trailer surprisingly easily, almost like they know what's happening. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Either way, once they're loaded, I secure everything and begin the drive towards the livestock market. Selling livestock never really becomes routine. You spend years looking after these animals. You know exactly where they came from. You watched them grow. But farming has always been about balancing sentiment with reality. And the reality is, these cows have done their job. Now it's time for the next generation to take their place. The first 6 cows are sold. 13,400 pounds. Not a bad start. I check the balance on my phone and smile. That's a decent morning's work. Then it's straight back to the farm to do it all again. The second trip goes much the same. Load up, drive into town, unload. Complete the paperwork. Another 11,000 pounds added to the account. By the time I pull out of the market for the final time, we've cleared the older cows out, created space for the younger animals coming through, and pushed the farm account up to around 170,000 pounds. Exactly where I wanted it. The cattle are sorted, the calves are thriving. And for once, there isn't another job immediately waiting for me, which is fortunate, because today, there's somebody else I'd rather see. I wander across the yard and into the dairy barn.
Well, look who finally decided to show up.
I've been busy making money.
That's your excuse every time.
It's a good excuse.
Not really. I've been here nearly 2 hours already.
Then you've had 2 peaceful hours.
That part's true.
Everything looking all right?
Everything looks great, actually. The jerseys are healthy, body condition scores are good, calves are growing exactly how I'd expect, and the feeding program you've got going now is working really well.
The total mixed rations seem to have changed everything.
They have. You can tell immediately.
Good. Considering how much machinery I bought to make it happen, I'd have been disappointed otherwise.
You mean the machinery addiction continues?
It's not an addiction.
Ethan.
All right, maybe a small addiction.
At least you're honest about it now. You know, you've built something pretty impressive.
Sometimes I forget that.
You shouldn't. I remember seeing this place not long after you took it over. It doesn't even feel like the same farm anymore.
There's still a lot I want to do.
There always will be. That's why you'll never stop.
You're probably right.
Don't say probably.
Sorry. The cattle sale went well, the farm account is healthy, the herd is growing, and for the first time in a while, things feel settled, which usually means something interesting is just around the corner. But that's a problem for another month. For now, October comes to an end. Winter is definitely on its way. Before we do anything else this month, I head down to the bale barn to see exactly where we stand. The numbers tell the story pretty quickly. We've still got around 32 straw bales, more than enough. We've got over 80 silage bales, again, plenty. But when I look over at the haystack, my heart sinks slightly. 4, just 4 hay bales left. That's it. Which means the decision makes itself. We're making hay. I pull the radio from the dashboard. Morning, Freddy. Just check the bale barn. We're down to 4 hay bales.
That's not ideal.
No, silage is fine, straw's fine, hay isn't.
Well, that's settled then. I'll keep mowing.
Hay all the way.
Already halfway through field 3. I'll get field 98 started once this one's finished.
Perfect. I'll bring the tedder out.
Sounds good. Let's get this sorted before winter arrives properly.
The radio falls silent. A few minutes later, I'm heading down the lane with the tedder behind me. Field 3 is already lying neatly cut. Freddy's done a great job. I lower the tedder and get to work. Back and forth, row after row, watching the fresh grass spread out behind me. It's funny how much easier farming becomes when you've got good people around you. A few years ago, I'd have been doing all of this myself. The mowing, the tedding, the rowing, the baling, the collecting, every single job. Now, Freddie and I work almost without needing to discuss it. Everyone knows where they need to be. Everyone knows what needs doing. And the farm runs far more efficiently because of it. By midday, Field 3 is finished. I head across to the next field. The afternoon passes in a blur of grass, machinery, and diesel. Eventually, the radio crackles again.
Field 98's all rowed up. Looking good over here.
Perfect timing.
You bringing the baler out?
That's the plan.
Good. I'd quite like some hay this winter.
The cows might beat you to it.
Worth asking.
By late afternoon, the final bale drops out of the machine. The fields are finished. Freddie is already collecting them and stacking them away safely inside the barn. I park the baler up for the evening and take one final look across the fields. The grass season is over. The hay barn is full again, and another month is done. Winter has finally settled across the valley. The trees are bare, the mornings are darker, and there's a thin frost sitting across most of the fields when I step outside. It feels like everything has slowed down, at least until I look across the yard and spot Freddie already working. The mixer wagon is moving between the barns. The cows are lining up for breakfast, and despite the cold, everything is ticking along exactly as it should. I make my way down to the hay barn first. One of the advantages of having so many animals now is that we're producing most of what we need ourselves. The downside is they eat through it at an unbelievable rate. I pull out a couple of hay bales, a few silage bales, a straw bale, leave them ready for Freddie to load up. Once that's sorted, I head back across the yard. Today's main job is finally selling the canola harvest. 90,000 liters has been sitting in storage since August, waiting for the right price. That time has arrived. The Claas carrot trailer is already waiting. I pull alongside the silo, open the auger, and start filling. It's always satisfying seeing grain leave the silo. Harvesting is one thing, actually getting paid for it is another. The first load fills quickly, 22,500 liters. I climb back into the tractor and begin the drive towards the oil mill. The roads are quiet. Most farmers are staying indoors this time of year. Meanwhile, I'm hauling the equivalent of a small fortune behind me. The oil mill comes into view. I pull onto the weighbridge, unload, and watch the numbers appear on the screen. 24,500 pounds. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. The money lands in the account. I turn around, head back to the farm, and do it all over again. Load after load, trip after trip. The process repeats throughout the month. Each time, the trailer leaves a little lighter. Each time, the bank account grows a little larger. By the time the final load is delivered, the silo is completely empty. Every last liter gone. The final payment arrives shortly afterwards. I check the account. 320,000 pounds. The biggest balance this farm has ever had. I head back towards the house. Christmas is only a few weeks away. For once, the bills are paid, the animals are fed, the sheds are full, and things are looking pretty good. Not a bad way to finish the year. The snow has finally settled across the valley. The fields are white, the roads are quiet, and for the first time in what feels like forever, things have slowed down a little. Freddie's been keeping on top of the animals while the weather's been rough. So today, sitting by the fire while the snow falls outside, there's something we've been meaning to talk about for a while. You know, I was thinking about something this morning while I was looking around the house.
That sounds dangerous already. What were you thinking about?
Nothing too dramatic. I was just looking around and realized you've basically moved in already, without either of us actually saying it out loud.
Have I?
Rosie, you've got clothes in the wardrobe, boots by the front door, shampoo in the bathroom, mugs in the kitchen, and somehow you've claimed most of the sofa.
Well, somebody had to make this place look presentable.
I suppose that's true.
What's brought this on?
I don't know. Maybe seeing how settled everything feels lately. Maybe just realizing we're spending more time together than apart now.
We are.
So I guess I'm wondering why we're still pretending you don't live here.
Is that your incredibly romantic way of asking me to move in?
Apparently it is.
Good thing I like you.
So?
So, yes.
Just yes?
Did you want a formal contract?
Given how much paperwork I do these days, maybe.
Ethan, I'd love to move in properly. I've wanted to for a while now. I just didn't want to assume.
Really?
Of course. Most evenings I'm already here. Half my weekends are here. My job takes me all over the valley anyway. This place already feels like home.
That's good to hear.
What about you? Are you sure?
Rosie, when I got this house, I thought it'd take years before I shared it with somebody. Back then, I was living in a caravan wondering how I was going to pay next month's rent. Now we've got 2 farms, a business that's actually working, and someone I genuinely enjoy spending every day with.
That's a much better answer than I was expecting.
Good.
We'll need to move some things across from my place.
Some things?
Okay, quite a lot of things.
That's what I thought.
You know what I'm most excited about?
Go on.
Not having to drive home late every evening, especially in weather like this.
That's fair.
And being closer to the farms means I can keep a better eye on all the animals too. The sheep over at Woodland Hill have become a full-time job on their own.
They've done all right, though.
They have. Every time I go over there, there's more lambs running around than I remember.
It's become a pretty good setup.
You've built something special here, Ethan.
You know, when I started all this, moving into a caravan with almost nothing, I never pictured this.
What did you picture?
Surviving.
Well, you've definitely managed that.
Yeah, I think I have.
And we're only getting started.
That's the exciting part.
Exactly.
The rest of the month passes quietly. Between snow showers and cold evenings, we spend our time moving the last of Rosie's things across and getting settled properly. Freddie keeps both farms ticking along in the background, making sure the cattle, sheep, and dairy herds stay fed while the weather does its best to keep everyone indoors. By the time the month comes to an end, Rosie's officially moved in. The house feels fuller than ever, and for the first time in a long while, things feel settled. The snow's starting to disappear now. The days are slowly getting longer, and before long, it'll be time to get back out into the fields. But for now, we're going to enjoy the quiet while it lasts, as January comes to an end and we head into February. The snow has finally disappeared from the valley, and for the first time in weeks, it feels like spring might actually be on its way. The fields are still damp underfoot, but the days are getting longer and there's work to be done again. Rosie is settling into the house really well now. Freddie's back into his usual routine between both farms, and things are ticking along nicely. First thing this month, I head outside with a coffee and spot Freddie already halfway across one of the fields with the manure spreader. The man's impossible to beat to work.
Morning, boss. Thought I'd get a head start on these barley fields before you found another expensive machine to buy.
Very funny. How's it looking?
Not bad at all. Manure's spreading nicely. Nitrogen needed a boost, so this should help plenty. I'll get both barley fields done today if the weather stays like this.
Sounds good. I was planning on getting the slurry done as well, so between us, we should get these fields looking pretty healthy.
Just don't come back with another Claas machine before lunchtime.
No promises.
I knew it.
For months now, I've had that slurry tanker sitting down there waiting. The Xerion Saddle Track, the machine I've wanted ever since I first saw it. I spoke with Claas recently, and after all the machinery we've bought from them over the years, they've agreed to include the Multi-4 XL applicator system completely free if I purchase the tractor unit itself. That's over 100,000 pounds worth of equipment included in the deal. It's tempting, very tempting. The problem is, the Xerion itself still costs 405,000 pounds. Even with the milk money coming in, that's serious money. Before making any decisions, I decide to get the latest milk collection sorted. The dairy tanker arrives mid-morning and pulls into the yard beside the dairy barn. We currently have just over 50,000 liters of milk waiting. I stand watching as the tanker fills up and then disappears down the lane towards the dairy. 374,000 pounds. Now we're talking. With the numbers finally looking a little healthier, I decide to go for it. I hitch up the existing slurry tanker and head down to Peacock and Bennington's. Oxy's still away, so there's nobody around except a couple of mechanics working in the workshop. I reverse the old tanker into the trade-in bay and start working through the paperwork myself. The tanker sells for 78,000 pounds. That pushes the account balance up to 453,000 pounds. Enough. A few signatures later, and it's done. The Claas Xerion 4200 saddle track is officially mine. Even after everything we've bought over the years, climbing into this thing feels different. It's enormous. The cab feels more like a lorry than a tractor. Screens everywhere, visibility for days. I hitch up the slurry tanker waiting nearby, and then connect the Multi-4 XL applicator. The whole setup looks ridiculous, in the best possible way. Then I head back towards Yew Tree Farm. Once home, I pull alongside the slurry pit and fill the tanker with 30,000 liters. Then it's time to finally see what this machine can do. Field 3 is first. I lower the applicator arms. They unfold wider and wider until they seem to stretch across half the field. Then I start moving. Within minutes, slurry is being applied across huge sections of the grassland. The coverage is incredible. 3 or 4 passes, and most of the field is already done. By the time I finish the first field, I've still got plenty left in the tank. Meanwhile, Freddie continues working through the barley fields with the manure spreader. The two of us spend most of the month leapfrogging across the farm, improving nitrogen levels, and getting everything ready for another growing season. By the end of the month, every field has received what it needs. The barley is looking healthier already, the grass fields are ready for spring, and the new Xerion has proven itself from day one. As the sun begins setting, I park the saddle track beside the combine shed and climb down one final time. The Claas collection is growing again. The fields are in good shape, the cows are happy, the milk is flowing. And for the first time in a long while, it feels like everything is moving exactly in the right direction. With that, I head inside for the evening as February comes to an end and March begins. Spring has finally arrived across the valley. The trees are beginning to wake up again. The grass is growing faster every day, and both farms are looking better than they did just a few months ago. The sheep are thriving over at Woodland Hill Farm. Rosie is keeping an eye on everything from the animal side of things, and Freddie has been doing a fantastic job keeping both farms running while I focus on the bigger picture. One thing we have been doing recently is reducing the sheep numbers slightly. They were getting completely out of hand. Between the lambs being born and the amount of wool being produced, the meadow was becoming a very busy place. Freddie has been taking care of most of the sales over there, moving animals on when needed and keeping the numbers sensible. My job this month is a lot less exciting. Lime. Lots and lots of lime. The pH values across several of the fields have slowly started drifting down again, particularly after all the slurry and manure applications we've been putting on. The nitrogen is looking great, but if we want the crops performing properly, the soil needs balancing too. So after a quick walk around the yard, I climb into the tractor, hitch up the Breedle lime spreader, and make my way towards the first barley field. The spreader is already loaded and ready to go. All I need to do now is get to work. And just like that, another month of maintenance begins, back and forth, pass after pass. The white cloud of lime stretches across the field while the soil underneath slowly improves. It's not the most exciting job on the farm. Nobody is rushing out to watch someone spread lime, but it's one of those jobs that makes everything else possible. Healthy soil means healthy crops. Healthy crops mean healthy profits.
Thought I'd give you an update before you disappeared into another field.
Go on then.
The sheep sale went well this morning. Moved a few more of the younger ones and freed up a bit of space. Everything's looking tidy over here.
Good. How's the meadow holding up?
Really well, actually. Plenty of grass, plenty of room, and the lambs seem happy enough. Rosie was over here earlier and gave everything the thumbs up.
That's good to hear.
Although, I reckon the sheep are making more money than I am these days.
You're not wrong there.
Anyway, I'll leave you to your glamorous lime spreading career.
Somebody's got to do it.
Keep telling yourself that.
See you later, mate.
Catch you later.
The radio falls silent again, and I carry on working. The first field eventually turns into the second. The second turns into the grass field, then another and another. By lunchtime, I've lost count of how many loads I've spread. The good thing about the Breedle spreader is how much it can carry. 9,000 liters at a time means fewer trips back and forth, and by now, I've become pretty efficient with it. Every time I finish a field, I stop for a moment, check the soil map, and watch those pH numbers slowly climb back into the green, exactly where they need to be. By late afternoon, the final field is complete. The grass fields are green. The barley is growing well. The cattle are content. And for the first time all year, there isn't another machine waiting for me somewhere. At least not today. Back at the farm, I wash down the spreader, park it inside the shed, and shut everything down for the evening. Another maintenance job finished. Another month ticked off. The foundations for the year are in place. Now, all we need is a bit of sunshine and a bit of patience. With that, I head back inside as March comes to an end and April begins. Another month rolls around, and before long, it's time for one of the most profitable jobs Woodland Hill Farm produces every year. The sheep have spent months doing what sheep do best, and now all that wool is stacked up waiting for us. Meanwhile, Freddie is back at Yew Tree Farm this morning, taking care of the cattle and making sure everybody gets fed while I deal with the sheep side of the business. We've got 121,000 pounds in the bank to start the month, and it's time to see what these sheep have earned us. I climb into the tractor, hitch up the flatbed trailer, and head down the road towards Woodland Hill Farm. Even after all these years, I still enjoy driving into this place. The sheep meadow is green, the barns are tidy, the spinnery is ticking away quietly, and it's amazing to think this place nearly slipped through my fingers when Callum first started making noise with the estate. I pull into the yard and drive straight past the little spinnery building. Outside are 2 pallets of finished fabric ready for collection. Those are staying exactly where they are for now. The wool comes first. Immediately, I'm greeted by what feels like a mountain of wool. Pallet after pallet stacked neatly where Freddie has left them, ready for collection. These sheep have been busy, very busy. I start loading them one by one onto the trailer. Before long, I've loaded 32 pallets of wool, 32,000 liters. Then I head back towards the spinnery and load the final 2 pallets of fabric onto the trailer as well. Everything gets strapped down securely. The trailer is absolutely packed. And now it's time to make some money. With everything loaded, I leave Woodland Hill Farm behind and begin the journey towards the farmer's market.
Ethan, I thought that might be you coming down the road. What have you got for me this time?
A lot of wool.
That's usually a good sign.
32 pallets of it, plus a couple of pallets of fabric from the spinnery.
That's a serious amount. Those sheep aren't slowing down, are they?
Not even slightly. If anything, they're multiplying faster than we're selling them.
Sounds like a good problem to have.
I'll take that over most of the problems I've had over the years.
How are things otherwise? It's been a while since we've properly caught up.
Everything's going well. Rosie's moved in now, the dairy herd is doing great, and Freddie's become indispensable.
That's wonderful to hear. You've worked hard for all of it.
Thanks, Diane. How are things here?
Busy as always. Markets never really slow down. But seeing local businesses like yours growing makes it worthwhile.
I appreciate everything you've done over the years.
And I appreciate the products you keep bringing me. Keep that wool coming.
I don't think that'll be a problem.
Take care of yourself, Ethan.
You too, Diane. Speak soon.
Bye for now.
After parking the trailer away, I decide to take a walk over to the grass fields. The first thing I check is the nitrogen. Perfect. Then the pH values. Also perfect. Finally, I check the expected yield. That looks excellent too. All the work we've put in over the winter is paying off. The fields are healthy, the crops are healthy, and everything is lining up nicely for the busy months ahead. The wool is sold, the fabric is sold, the cattle are fed, and another productive month is behind us. With that, I head inside for the evening as April comes to an end and May begins. Rain has settled across the valley this month. Not enough to cause problems, but enough to keep everything damp and muddy. Freddie has been keeping busy over at Woodland Hill Farm with the sheep, firewood production, timber deliveries, and all the jobs that quietly keep the place running. Meanwhile, I'm over at Yew Tree Farm, and it's my turn to deal with the cattle. We've got around 200,000 pounds in the bank, and first thing this morning, I jump into the tractor to start feeding. The plan is simple enough. Make a load of total mixed rations and get all the cattle topped up. As I drive towards the hay barn though, something occurs to me. This mixer wagon is too small. Every time we feed cattle, we're making multiple trips. One load for the dairy cows, another for the beef cattle, and another for the younger stock. It works, but it isn't efficient. If we're serious about growing this business further, we need better equipment. So instead of stopping at the hay barn, I carry on down the road towards Peacock and Bennington's. Oxy is still away, so I handle the paperwork myself. The old mixer wagon gets traded in for 18,000 pounds, and I start looking through the catalog. There are a few options available, but one stands out immediately: the Silo King. After upgrading it to the larger 45 cubic meter version, it comes to 90,000 pounds. Expensive, but big enough to feed the entire farm in one go. That's exactly what I want. A few signatures later, and it's ours. I hitch it onto the tractor and make my way back to the farm, excited to see just how much difference it makes. Back at the hay barn, I jump into the Claas Scorpion telehandler and begin gathering materials. 2 straw bales, 4 hay bales, 4 silage bales. One by one, they disappear into the mixer. The augers start turning, and before long, everything is blending together nicely. When I climb back into the tractor and check the monitor, I can't help smiling. 42,000 liters of total mixed ration, more than enough for every cattle enclosure on the farm. First stop is the dairy herd. The Jersey cows gather around as I begin unloading. Since switching to total mixed rations, their milk production has improved massively. After that, I move on to the main beef cattle paddock, then finally the younger cattle barn. 1 trip, 3 pens. Job done. Already this thing feels worth every penny. Once feeding is finished, I decide to walk through the barns and check on the livestock. The older beef cattle are progressing nicely. 63 of them are around 33 months old now and well into their pregnancy cycle. The younger group is doing well too and growing fast. Over in the dairy barn, things are even busier. We've now got 100 animals in total, 80 mature dairy cows producing milk, and another 20 calves coming through behind them. Everything looks healthy and well cared for. The only issue becoming obvious is space. The cattle numbers continue increasing every year, and we're getting close to capacity again. Something needs to move. So throughout the rest of the month, we sell 12 of the older 39-month-old cattle, freeing up valuable room and bringing in roughly 30,000 pounds. That extra income pushes the account back up nicely while keeping the herd at a manageable size. By the end of the month, the new Silo King is already proving its value. Feeding is quicker, the cattle are thriving, and both farms are running smoothly. As the rain taps away on the workshop roof, I park the tractor for the evening and take one last look across the yard. Another upgrade complete. Another problem solved, and with harvest season approaching fast, we're in a good position heading into June. Summer has arrived once again, and with it comes one of the biggest jobs of the year, harvest season. The barley has turned from green to gold. The heads are hanging heavy, and after months of fertilizing, liming, slurry spreading, and general maintenance, it's finally time to see whether all that work was worth it. First thing this morning, I step outside and take a look across the fields. They look fantastic. Exactly what you want to see before harvest. Morning, Freddy. Ready for another harvest?
I was wondering when you'd finally let me use that combine.
Don't get any ideas. I'm driving the combine.
Worth a try.
How are things looking over there?
We've got a slight problem. We're nearly out of hay again.
Already?
Pretty much. We've still got some older bales stored over at Woodland Hill Farm though. I'll head over there with the flatbed trailer and bring everything back before we run into trouble.
Sounds good. Once you've done that, grab the grain trailer and come join me in the fields.
No worries. I'll be there before the combine's full.
See you shortly.
Good luck.
With that sorted, I climb into the Claas Lexion and make my way towards the first barley field. I unfold the header, lower it into the crop, and begin the first pass. Immediately, golden barley starts flowing through the machine. The yield monitor lights up. Everything is working perfectly. For the next hour or so, I work steadily up and down the field, slowly turning acres of barley into grain. Before long, the first tank is nearly full. Right on cue, Freddy arrives.
Told you I'd be here before it filled up.
Perfect timing.
The hay's all moved over, about 20 bales in total. Should keep the cattle happy until next month's grass cut.
Nice work.
Let's get this barley in then.
For the rest of the month, we settle into a rhythm. I harvest, Freddy carts grain back to the silo, then he's back again, ready for another load. The system works brilliantly. While working, I find myself thinking about how different things are compared to a few years ago. Back then, every harvest felt stressful. There was always a worry about money. Now we've got good machinery, good storage, reliable livestock income, and enough experience to know what we're doing. It's still hard work, but it feels far more manageable.
Ethan, it's Oliver.
Hello, mate. How are things?
Good. Listen, I was wondering if you got any hay available again.
We do, actually.
That's good to hear. I've decided I'd rather start getting it from you again if that's all right.
Of course. We'd be happy to help.
Excellent. Maybe we can sort something out next month.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. Speak soon.
Take care, Oliver.
You too.
The new combine barely misses a beat. Exactly what you'd hope after spending that much money. Eventually, the final load of barley is unloaded into Freddy's trailer, and we begin packing everything away. Back at the farm, I remove the header and park the combine beside the beef cattle paddock. The trailer is emptied into the silo, and we finally get a look at the total. 120,000 liters of barley, a very respectable harvest. Not bad at all. The hay situation is sorted, the barley is safely stored away, and next month we'll be cutting grass again. As I head back towards the house, I take one last look across the farm. Another harvest completed, another successful year rolling on. And with that, June comes to an end as we head into July. Another year is almost behind us, and somehow we've ended up back where every good farming year seems to finish. Grass season. The government payment for avoiding mowing during spring has come through once again, bringing in another £40,000. It's a nice reward for being patient, and it pushes the bank balance up nicely before we get started with the month's work. The fields are ready, the weather is holding, and it's finally time to cut. Morning, Freddy. You all set?
Already heading out. Mowers are on, and I'm making my way to field 98 now.
Perfect. Listen, I've got something I need to deal with today.
That sounds dangerous.
Nothing like that. Oliver called last month. He wants us supplying hay again.
That's good news.
It is. So if you're all right handling the grass work this month, I'll take care of Oliver.
No problem. I'll do the mowing, tedding, rowing, baling, and collecting.
You sure?
Ethan, I've practically been doing half of it already.
Fair point.
Go sort the customer. I'll sort the fields.
Thanks, mate.
No worries. Speak later.
With that sorted, I leave Freddy to it. The truth is, he's become one of the most reliable people I've ever worked with. There aren't many people I'd trust to run two farms while I'm elsewhere, but Freddy has earned that trust over the years. At Woodland Hill Farm, I pull up beside the hay barn and find the 4 bales we set aside earlier. They're loaded one by one onto the trailer, strapped down, ready to go. And with that, I begin the journey over to Oliver's Equestrian Center. It feels good rebuilding this relationship. Losing Oliver as a customer bothered me more than I admitted at the time. It wasn't Callum taking the business that annoyed me. It was the fact that I'd let a good customer down. Hopefully this puts things right. The countryside rolls past as I make my way through the valley. Eventually, Oliver's property comes into view. The riding arena, the stables, the small barns, the house overlooking everything, exactly as I remember it. But as I pull into the driveway, something immediately catches my attention. A red pickup truck. Callum, there's no mistaking it. Same truck, same registration, same battered toolbox mounted in the back. He's here. That's strange. Oliver specifically told me he'd stop buying from Callum. So what's he doing here? I pull up near the unloading area and climb down from the tractor. The place seems quiet. Too quiet. I start walking towards one of the storage barns. Callum? What the hell are you doing?
Ethan, what are you doing here?
I asked first.
None of your business.
Looks like diesel to me. Why are you carrying diesel around Oliver's hay storage?
It's not what it looks like.
Then explain it.
I don't owe you an explanation.
No, but Oliver might want one.
Don't start acting like you're some saint. Everything around here always works out for you. The farms, the estate, the customers, all of it.
That's because I work for it.
You had everything handed to you.
No, I didn't, and you know that.
Pete gave you a farm. The estate backed you. Rosie chose you. Everything just falls into place for Ethan Manston.
You really believe that?
I know it.
Then why are you standing behind Oliver's barn with a container of diesel?
Watch yourself.
No, you watch yourself, because this is starting to look very bad.
Callum, what exactly are you doing?